I arrived at my sister's house just after sunset. Her home, tucked away at the end of a peaceful, tree-lined street, felt like stepping into another time, a place where laughter once echoed through the halls and the scent of familiar meals still lingered in the air. As she pulled me into a warm hug, I melted into the comfort of it. "It's been too long," she said, smiling as she led me inside. At first, the days moved quietly. I settled into the rhythm of her home, sipping coffee in the mornings and watching the wind stir the trees outside her kitchen window. But the stillness shifted when I met Ethan again, my sister's son, my nephew. He had just moved back home after finishing graduate school, and his return brought a new energy to the house. At 25, Ethan was no longer the lanky teenager I remembered. He stood taller now, more sure of himself. He carried himself with a quiet confidence that caught me off guard. His voice steady, his smile easy and warm. We started spending time together naturally, sitting on the back porch in the evenings, watching the sky change colors. He'd share stories about his travels, the time he got lost on a winding street in Italy, the way the stars looked from the hills of Greece, the people he met in faraway cities. His words painted pictures, each one more vivid than the last. I found myself leaning in, not just to hear, but to feel closer. One evening, as the sky turned a soft pink and the crickets began their song, he told a ridiculous story about trying to order food in a foreign language and failing miserably. I laughed, really laughed, harder than I had in months. When I looked at him, his eyes softened. "I'm really glad you're here," he said quietly. Something stirred inside me at those words. A flicker of warmth, but also confusion. I pushed the feeling away, pretending it was nothing. But over the next few days, I started noticing things. Small things. The way he brewed my coffee just the way I liked it, without asking. The way he draped a blanket over my shoulders when I fell asleep on the couch. The way his eyes lingered on mine, just a second too long. One afternoon, I struggled with a stubborn jar in the kitchen. Ethan stepped behind me, reaching over my shoulder. His hand brushed mine. The air shifted. "Got it," he said with a grin, but I barely heard him. My thoughts raced. I scolded myself. This was wrong. He was family. This wasn't supposed to happen. That night, I lay awake, turning the moment over in my mind. I tried to rationalize it. I told myself I felt safe around him, that closeness was normal. But deep down, I knew something was changing. The next evening, we sat outside again. The air smelled faintly of rain. He handed me a cup of tea, steam rising between us. "You okay?" he asked gently. I nodded, but the truth tangled in my throat. I wanted to say everything, to explain the whirlwind inside me, to confess the pull I felt toward him, but I couldn't. So I smiled, took a sip, and pretended nothing had changed, even though everything had. The next morning, sunlight poured through the window as I sat stirring my coffee absent-mindedly. My mind circled back to that moment in the kitchen, the brush of his hand. It haunted me. He walked in, casually dressed, fitted shirt, rolled up sleeves. I noticed the way his arms moved, the way his voice softened when he spoke to me. "You're quiet today," he said, taking the seat beside me. "Just thinking," I mumbled, but I couldn't stop watching him, the way he looked at me, like he saw something others missed. That afternoon, I offered to help him in the kitchen. He grinned. "Sure, but I take my chopping skills very seriously," he teased. We laughed. We bumped into each other in the small space. For a moment, everything felt light again, until our hands touched, both reaching for the same cutting board. We froze. "Sorry," I said quickly, stepping back. He smiled, but there was something different in his eyes, something searching. Later that night, we sat in the living room. A storm rattled the windows, and I pulled a blanket around me. Without a word, he shifted closer, placing an arm gently over my shoulders. I should have moved. I should have put space between us. But instead, I leaned in. I told myself it was innocent, just comfort on a stormy night. But the way his fingers traced soft, slow circles on my arm told a different story. The next day, I avoided him. I stayed upstairs, pretending to be busy. But when he called me for lunch, I came down. We sat in silence until he finally said, "You've been avoiding me." I froze. I started, but I couldn't finish. "You don't have to explain," he said, watching me closely. I get it, but he didn't. Not really, because I didn't even understand it myself. That evening, another storm rolled in. The lights went out, and he lit candles, placing one on the table between us. Shadows flickered across his face. "You've grown up," he said softly. "I guess," I whispered. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees. "You've been on my mind," he admitted, his voice low. "And I know I shouldn't feel this way, but—" He stopped himself, afraid of what might come next. My heart pounded. I should have said something to end it, to shut the door on this before it opened further. But I didn't. "I feel it too," I said, almost too quietly to hear. He let out a long breath, like he'd been holding it for days. For a moment, it felt like something might happen, something irreversible. But then he leaned back, running a hand through his hair. "This isn't right," he said. "Your family. I don't want to hurt you." "I know," I whispered. Silence settled between us. "I think I should go home early," I finally said. He nodded. "Maybe that's best." The morning of my departure arrived faster than I was ready for. I packed my things with trembling hands, my thoughts tangled and raw. Before I left, I sat at the kitchen table and wrote him a note. I don't know what this feeling means, or if I should even be feeling it, but I know it's real, and I know you feel it too. I'm leaving because it's the right thing to do, but I'll carry these memories with me. Thank you for making me feel safe, cared for, and seen. I left the note on the counter and walked away. I hadn't made it 2 blocks before my phone rang. His name lit up the screen. "I read your note," he said. His voice was low, tight. "And I need you to know you're not alone in this." Tears welled in my eyes. "I care about you too much to let this become something we regret," he added. "But you're special to me. That doesn't have to change." A bittersweet smile tugged at my lips. "Take care of yourself," I said. "You too," he replied. "And if you ever need me, I'm here." I ended the call and stood there, breathing deeply under the open sky. Some connections aren't meant to last, but that doesn't make them any less real. Some stories live only in memory, soft, quiet, and unforgettable.